Dog fans, welcome to Hunker Down, Impact Media's weekly dive into the world of the Georgia Bulldogs football team. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. He is Jake Jim Tan Laundry Skinner. You did at least two of those today. You can't lie.
Yeah,
You did two before you come on this show. And in fact, the sun was out, so you technically did the third.
true.
Those are
It's
facts,
very
ladies and
true.
gentlemen. Uh, Other things that are facts. Boy, the Bulldogs had a week.
Yeah, they did.
I think they had some good practices. Um, I think they arrived for the game about just after halftime. That seems about right. Maybe just before halftime. It seems like they got there just about.
Second quarter, they arrived.
Yeah, yeah. But they had to put their pads on. They had to use the restroom, eat some nachos. They had to get ready. So by the time they got ready, they really made a game of it. We're going to really talk about that. Had a couple chances to win at the end.
Hmm.
I luckily got home in time to see the last 8 minutes or so. They had some really, really good chances. So for all the flatness that they had early on, to where it just looked like I don't know, kicking a horse that's on its way to meet Jesus. That team that showed up at the end is, I think, the potential for this team that shows you they're not a throwaway team. They're actually a really good team who tried to spot Alabama way too many points.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you- it's one of those things where you can't spot a team 28 points in the 21 points in the first quarter and expect
Especially
to win a
Alabama.
football game. It doesn't matter. It's to quote Larry Munson. By the end of this game, there's a Larry Munson quote of like, "I gave up on them, so did you." I didn't believe it until that fourth quarter when all of a sudden they came roaring back. I sat there. You can ask my friends whose house I was at. I came out of my chair. Had their kid not been asleep upstairs, I would have screamed. I jumped up and I came off that couch pretty dang when Dylan Bell caught that touchdown. I mean, Georgia made me proud at the end of the game. Like that
Absolutely.
last drive, I had a feeling Carson was going to throw a pick. I just had a gut feeling because it's just typical. Call it the Mark Richt-itis. You know that's going to happen. It did, and I don't want to dwell on some things, but like what I really want to like Georgia just you can't let a receiver go for 177 yards. And honestly, two plays in the second half is all it took for Alabama. You look at two plays that they did, Georgia couldn't stop them on two, and that was like two deep balls. Other than that, Georgia stopped on that
Yep.
second half. They didn't run, they didn't throw, except for two plays. So Georgia turned around. Kirby and staff are some of the best at showing up, and they didn't get off the bus this trip, but they at least by halftime they went in there, they talked about it, they figured out a game plan, and they nearly came away with a win. Um, The
Yep.
problem you're going to see is the beginning of it was a complete disconnect between your coordinator and your quarterback. I've been alluding to it for weeks now that something's been going on, but wasn't sure quite how it was going to play out. And we unfortunately saw how it played out in the first half is Arian Smith makes that catch and Georgia game's a whole different ball game at the beginning of the first half. Arian Smith makes the adjustment like his quarterback called for, the check,
Hmm.
and he goes for a screen and on a slant. It's a touchdown. Arian makes that catch, like I just said a second ago. It's not a touchdown, but it's a huge play. Arian is not Carson's favorite. Arian and Carson can get along, but Carson's preferred practice buddies, who he took to California, Florida with him, whatever it was in the offseason, is Lovett. You got Lovett, Dylan Bell, and you got Colby Young. That's his three. That and then Lucky and Delp. And let's just go ahead and say this, Delp. I love you, Delp, but you are not you've something's happened to him. Lucky's the tight
Yeah.
end. Him and you need to see Jaden Reddle. Georgia decided quit trying to play freshmen. We're going to stick with our seniors, stick with our juniors and seniors, the guys that we trust, and let's see if we can win the game. It dang near worked. We
Hmm.
learned at the end of this game that this team can take a shot in the mouth and come back and almost win. Like they should have won. Like it's like what Rocky always said. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. Georgia dang near pulled that off. Like they
Oh,
almost
yeah.
did it. And like I said, one bad play where a cornerback does not, who's in a hip pocket, he is on the fastest receiver for Bama, and he's got him on lockdown, and he doesn't even turn around and spy the ball. I
No.
don't know if Kirby, I don't know who's teaching them, but something Georgia doesn't do is they play the Nick Saban style of watch the face, guard the face. Maybe they need to learn, maybe it's time to move on from that, play the ball more. I don't know, but this is a problem with Georgia. They either get interference calls or you give up the big play. I don't know what needs to happen there, but Georgia needs to fix that. We had to give up the running game on offense. The passing game was our only way at winning, and Carson was lost at the end of that first half. Like you looked in his eyes, I didn't see it, but that goes back to Bobo's in his ear saying one thing, Carson's saying another. Carson's
Mhm.
guys are not out there. By the time that game got toward the end, outside of one or two good plays by Arian, who did have 132 yards, I don't disagree that he could be good, but he's got too many drops. By the
Yeah,
end of this game, you saw what happened when we went to Carson's favorites, and it dang near pulled it off. We needed some guys to make better plays, but I mean, you can only do what you can do. It's not all on Carson. It's not all on everybody. I was
no,
dogging Carson that first half for what he was doing, but Georgia right now, we've been hearing too much of, for those of you who aren't aware, like some of the coaches are saying the players need to execute better. When has a team ever won when the coaches are dogging their players publicly or in meetings? You don't.
exactly.
They're not taking accountability. Kirby is saying that they got to execute better, but he's also saying the coaches need to execute the game plan better and get the players prepared. That tells me there's a disconnect. I don't know. And I do know that, like I said, it's the coordinator and the quarterback. I am full on board with this. Bobo has got to go. The game is either, yes, that second half masks it. Okay. For those fans, oh, he's great. Look what he did in the second. I'm sorry, but we've had 16, 17 games of him as a head coach dating back to last year.
Mhm.
Okay. Dating back to last year, what has he done? Every game Georgia has started out slow. There's not been one game we come out and light the scoreboard on
No.
fire at any point of the season. It's a second half football team under Mike Bobo. When Todd Monken was here, Georgia, you came out the first quarter, we were up 20 points to nothing. By the end of the first quarter, we're like, whoa, 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 where'd this come from? This is new. Georgia's not the same team. Bobo is either the game has passed him by or he's too conservative. And that ego of his is like, let me just do my football the way I know how to do it. It
Mhm.
ain't working. It worked with Rick, but it ain't working no more. The game's past it. Time to move on.
Yeah, about midway through the second, let's use another Rocky quote. The Georgia players kind of staggered to the sideline and looked at the coaches and said, I'm seeing three of them out there. And luckily, there was a couple coaches that grabbed them by the face mask and said, hit the one in the middle. And they come out in that second half. And like you said, it was a complete turnaround. I don't
Yeah.
know if it
I
was
mean, the
Kirby.
defense after the
Somebody said
first
something
quarter.
at halftime.
No, if you watch the end of the first quarter, I think it was first quarter in the second. Kirby
Mhm.
Kirby pulled his team and they all took a knee and he's sitting there talking to him and talking to him.
Yeah.
He told them that. And see, this team needed to get hit in the mouth to learn who they were. Every team
Yeah.
has to go through that game. If you don't, congratulate yourself lucky, but you're not going to be worse for wear if you don't understand who you are. This team has a disconnect on offense.
Mhm.
Defense learned who they were. Defense can make plays. They just got to replace some key players or move and get better in certain areas.
Right.
I think Humphrey, nothing against him, but Humphrey needs to play better. I'm sorry I'm all over the place, everybody, but I'm just getting thoughts out as they come to me here. Not to mention, and I'm going to rag him for a minute, our favorite player, Chaz Chambliss.
He deserves this. Yeah.
Chaz got sucked in every dang time. He could not set an edge to save his life. That's what he's supposed to be good at, and he got sucked in. We finally pulled him off the field, put somebody else in, and all of a sudden, boom! Oh my goodness! Well, look what happened. Okay,
Chaz,
he
buddy,
proves himself.
we defend you and we actually talk great about you, which we always talk good, but we talked really great about you the last couple of weeks. And maybe it went to his head because this was a
He blew it.
stinker of a past
He
week.
blew it. I mean, defense really struggled. Dan Jackson
Yeah.
was the only one making tackles. Georgia cannot have again 15 missed tackles. You can't
No.
have that. Second half, they didn't have as many, but I mean, that first drive, we just kept giving stuff up to Bama. It's like you had three missed tackles on a few plays and a couple of mistakes on the penalties. I mean, Bama was not getting the normal Bama calls, but they were also getting calls that should have been called. Like there was multiple times where pass interference should have been called on Bama, but they didn't get it at the end of the game. Colby
Hmm.
Young should have had one called when they threw it in his face, but they didn't on two different ones. And the last play that was a pick. Also, side note, you don't throw that past Bobo. You don't throw
No.
from the far hash. The middle of the field's open. You send that out and you run something up the seams, or you do a
Yep.
check down. You do the Brock. You know what you do? You do the Brock Bowers play. You run lucky out, block, and go with it because that play could have been there. There was too much there. And again, I'm rambling, but it looked like this football team on defense. It looked like Georgia was preparing to play a Nick Saban pound you in the mouth up in the middle. And when Georgia finally said, "All right, finally we're going to spread them out," oh, look what happened. They shut them down. Yeah, you gave
Yep.
up another 20 points the rest of the game, but you gave up 20 points in 3 quarters after you got 21 in the first. You quit
Yep.
playing how you thought you should, and you said, let's just play how we think. Let's just play what we need to. And it worked. So Kirby's got to do better at getting the team more prepared on that one. The defense might need a shake up at a coach. I think secondary coach we need to look somewhere else at a better coach at corners. Safety's okay, but I definitely think that Dante Williams from California. I get it. We're trying to keep recruiting those California kids, but get someone else who can coach a cornerback better because he didn't do great at USC. He's a great recruiter, but his kids that had left, one of them is at Alabama. Damani Jackson had a heck of a good game for Bama, and that was one of the ones that has gotten better since he moved.
Yeah.
Georgia just all around has to figure out who they are. Georgia needs
I
to
agree.
get things together. We can throw the ball. We know we can, but we got to run a run game. We just couldn't do it this game. We were in the hole. We've got to pound the ball. I don't know that we're going to win the ball. Like Carson can win it when he's throwing, but he can do it when he's not in his head because when he's not in his head, he gets his guys on the field.
Hmm.
You heard them say it was pretty early in the game, I think, but they said that Milroe went to the coaches, whether this is true or not. Now they are paying him millions of dollars, so you don't know that, or whatever amount in NIL money. But Milroe said that he has like, hey, we need to be throwing the ball to Ryan Williams. Coaches put him in the start, and all of a sudden he started taking off. If that's true, awesome, good for them. How would you feel, Jeremy, if you're Carson Beck and Mike Bubba looks at you and goes, yeah, I know those three guys are the ones you prefer to throw to and you're got good rapport with them, but I want Arian Smith out there because Arian's a blazer. But he drops a pass. It doesn't matter that he drops. I think he should play, so I don't care what your opinion is, Coach Carson. How would
Well,
you feel?
even though it's a different level, for Falcons fans that are also dog fans, keep this in mind. Um, what if the offensive coordinator of the Falcons went to Kirk Cousins and said, "Hey, I don't care that Darnell Mooney catches anything you throw at him. That Drake London's having a massive day. That Bijan's coming great out of the back. I need you to throw to Kyle Pitts because he's Kyle Pitts." Yeah, and Kirk Cousins will be like, "Bye, Felicia. I, I'm the quarterback. I got this. You call the plays.
Mhm.
I'll throw to the open receiver, and if he gets open, I'll throw to him. But I'm not throwing to him if he's not open."
Exactly. And the problem is Carson's being forced into a bubble because Bobo's like, you need to be in a bubble. Trust me, I know better. Bobo is a very old school, I'm going to berate you and you're just going to take it and you can't go nowhere. That's pre-transfer portal days. He's coaching like it's the pre if this was a
Mhm.
freshman, sophomore that we had doing this, like a Dylan Raiola, who, by the way, is lighting things up for Nebraska, like
Whoops.
he's everything a bit as advertised, but Georgia wouldn't pay the extra money. Okay, I'll admit it. We didn't want to pay
Hey,
him more than our current
I'm
starter.
fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I don't blame Kirby for not wanting to set the market on that. I get it. Like we're cool with it. No hurt feelings. Congratulations, kid. I may be a little miffed at how it was handled and not sticking to your guns, but I get it. So
Well, and
nonetheless,
he's also at Nebraska where he has what
he's the big dog in a little
and,
pond.
and he has a coaching staff that will develop him.
Georgia doesn't have that because they don't have a true quarterback coach that they need to go hire, and they don't have a coordinator who could put his best players in positions to win or scheme them open. Bobo don't do that. Okay.
Oh,
Arian Smith,
I got a new candidate.
I
Got a
got
new
two.
candidate. I got, last week I said maybe Tim Tebow. What about
There you go. I was wondering when you were going to bring that one up.
I mean,
I don't know. She's kind of ruined Kelsey's career. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I like both of
I
them.
think he's doing a good job of doing that on his own. I don't
Yeah.
think that's quite.
So someone's mentioned this is a long stretch, okay? This is a huge stretch. I don't think you can do it. But if I'm Georgia, it doesn't you're the University of Georgia for crying out loud. You can make any phone call you want. You're
Sure.
paying a guy $1 million a year. You can at least go, hey, I know you're in the NFL. Would you consider coming to coach? You're not going to get Todd Monken. What Georgia should do is call Monken up and go, hey, if we're going to hire a QB coach slash coordinator or both positions, because we can find the funding for that,
Mhm.
we're going to still continue to run your system because that's what we want. Okay. Who would you hire? Like, do you have someone on your staff that you trust to recruit to get players in position like you did? Who would you trust? Because Monken and Kirby needed each other.
Mhm.
So that's what got a title. Kirby's got to prove he can win without Monken. So Go to Monk and you're like, help me here, please. I helped you, so come back and help me again.
Yeah.
You go do that, and someone mentioned two good names to go after. Um, I believe, and I'm pretty sure this is the son of a former NFL coach, but you make a phone call. If I'm Kirby Smart, there's two guys I make a phone call. I personally call the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, and go, I need to talk to two of your guys. Either Clay Kubiak, who's the passing game coordinator, passing game specialist. I believe he is the son of Gary Kubiak.
Is he there or
That's
did
the
he move?
his brothers with San Francisco with New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah, someone else asked me
Okay.
that this week. The other person I call is the quarterback coach for the 49ers, Brian Greasy. Reason I
Go
say
blue.
this is the way you look at it is their offense is the best offense in the NFL. There's no like I don't care what you tell me. While yes,
When
Andy
they
Reid
have
is
all their
good,
weapons, absolutely.
but here the reason I say that is their offense and terminology and from what sources I know in there said, the way they run things is very similar to how Georgia runs them on offense. Okay, they've changed up their offense to be a little more spread oriented. So you go after one of their guys because it doesn't matter who comes in at quarterback. They always find a way to win no matter who's at quarterback. Like Brock Purdy's doing great. Like that's a pro style offense that's going to require reads and not the quarterback to not have to do too
Yep.
much like we're doing now. And if that offense is similar to what Monken ran to a point, why are we not making go something after that or find someone who knows how to run this offense or run that similar thing that can recruit. I don't know if those guys want to leave the NFL to deal with the college lifestyle, but if either one of them is interested, even if it's for 1 or 2 years, see if you can find someone who can, it worked for LSU for a year with Joe Brady.
I got to throw this out there too because one popped to mind. And this would be a quick fix this would not be a very permanent thing. And I want to know if maybe this name is still a little too hot for consideration. He's getting consideration in the NFL for different reasons. They've been consulting a lot, but what about John Gruden?
Nah, Gruden, I love John Gruden. Gruden's time's
Think he's
past
too
him.
old school? He's too old school.
He's too old school. You need someone who could. It's the same way with Mike Bobo. Okay, Mike Bobo's very hard
Yeah,
nosed. He's going to get in your face. As I put it, someone, you need a coach who can KMA. You need an offensive coordinator or a quarterback coach who can KMA a quarterback. Now, like a Baker Mayfield and a Stetson Bennett, they don't want you to kiss them. They want you to tell them
right.
how bad they are because they get better when they get angry.
They want that chip
Like
to grow.
they want that chip to grow. It's like, was it like Rocky? Like it's like he ain't getting. Look, he's getting angry. You want him to be a little angry because someone says it's that bleep you money. It's that
Yeah.
bleep you attitude.
Hmm.
They've got it. They don't care. Like there were a lot of times where Stetson wouldn't go with the play that was called and would change it because he didn't like it. Now it didn't always work, but 7, 8 times out of 10, it'll work. I think you can live with those numbers
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's going to come back and win. Carson did that. As someone said, he'd put his nuts on the table that second half. Carson showed you he did make a dumb throw, a couple throws, but one pick was not on him. That was on a receiver. The other throw was him going where he was told to throw it, but the guy dropped back into coverage unlike they thought. He had a different route if he should have checked down, but hindsight. And the third pick was he should have put that throw in a different spot. But then again, you're having a fireball from the far hash. I don't care how Ben Roethlisberger would have had a hard time with that one. I'm saying like you don't make that calling for it at the end of the game, especially when you're not getting pass interference calls like you should be. So I'll give him that one of those picks is on him. The other two were on play calling or check, a player not making his play. And that fumble, you just got to get rid of the ball. You're not out running somebody. Just do what you
Exactly.
got to do. Take the penalty. Who cares? Just take the penalty. I'd rather do that because then, worst case is you punt them. You got a punter with a leg that's going to go to the pros. You can live with it.
Oh
So
yeah.
Carson has to play better, but he was seeing stars. He was confused, but he zoned in. And all of a sudden, that second half, he went from not talking to his teammates and looking angry to building the team up. You saw him grow up in that game. You saw the whole team grow up. For all we know, this is the catalyst. This is what helps them go. We actually have this. We're going to win. This is the game. This team doesn't have leaders, vocal enough leaders. This game might just deliver. If they can
And
keep
this
a hold of that energy, they're going to be fine.
And that's something we said was, hey, we don't want them to lose this game, but if you're going to lose, the next couple of weeks is the time to do it because you still have time. You won't drop far and you
No,
still have time to get back up.
and
And
the fact,
you
yeah,
get punched in the mouth, you know what it feels like. You're going to go, well, I'm not doing that again.
right. Mike Tyson once said, everyone likes hitting until they get hit or something like that. I forgot the exact quote.
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
That's it. Excuse me. That's
Something
it.
close to that.
I
And it's
got
true.
it backwards. It is. And Georgia got punched in the mouth, and they didn't know how to react.
Yeah.
It's just, but the problem is that things snowballed because a few players didn't make key plays when they needed to.
Mhm.
Again, get the right play guys in there. And I'm gonna go. I know we gotta get to Auburn real quick, because we're getting a few running late here. But I'm gonna give a shout out to listen. I'm looking at it. Anthony Evans. He only had 2 catches for 28 yards, but I saw him out there. That dude was open. That dude was
Oh,
open more times than not when he was on the field.
mhm.
He's got to be on the field. Arian, we love you. Thank you for your time at Georgia. He's now a decoy. Unless the shot plays there, he is now a decoy. Do not throw to him. Yes, he had a great catch at the 1 yard line where he turned around, caught it, and almost fell in the end zone. Yes, that was great. But is that catch worth him dropping the one in the first quarter that caused a snowball effect? No, because
Nope.
you got other guys who can make the same play.
Mhm.
He is out there and he's your decoy. He goes out there unless he is 50 yards around him with no one there, then you can throw it to him because then he's got time to try to catch it. But
Yeah, this
nonetheless, that game snowballed. Georgia Georgia needs to know who they are. They found out. I hope when they play Auburn this week, if Georgia comes out slow, which they will because it's Bobo. But nonetheless, if Georgia comes out slow, I'm worried the rest of the year. If they come out lightning fast and ready to play, I think Georgia will be in good shape.
like even if they don't score a lot of points, like coming out fast, we're not saying you got to be 30-0 in the first quarter. You just can't. You have to dominate the game, even if
Hmm.
you're just up 10-0 or 13 or something going into the
Yes,
second. It
you,
does.
you
We're
need
not talking
something.
about you don't have to set the world on fire out
No,
of nowhere,
no.
but you're getting the 3:30 start. You're on
Yep.
ABC, ESPN plus 24 point. That's a lot. You're
The
4
weather's going to be
points
nice if Georgia
for
comes
once.
out fast. Georgia's dropping 50 on them.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
I think
Like
so.
I said, and forgive the sensitive fans out there, but it's like I said, if Georgia is the team that we saw in the second half, they're going to walk out there and drop their nuts on the table and go, y'all are in trouble because guess what's
Oh
coming?
yeah.
We're coming after you hard. Not trying to make too many puns here, but like Georgia needs to play with an attitude. I
Mhm.
think they're going to have it. If this team is who we think they can be. Now, I'll say this, my heart wants them to be that team. But if Georgia struggles for 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and then wins a game, done. They'll make the playoff, but they ain't winning a title. They
Yeah.
come out, drop the nuts on the table, and I'm looking, going, what team is this? That is a championship caliber team. But I don't think they're not one yet. Not until we see what they do the rest of the year. And you're like you said before we started. There's not going to be a undefeated team in the playoff, except maybe
I
in
think
Ohio
maybe
State.
one, maybe two. I think Texas maybe, but Texas has to play Georgia, so that may be a
And
loss for them.
and
And
Georgia
Ohio
can.
State
I
might
think
slip
Georgia can
out.
beat them.
Ohio State only has like 1 or 2 games that are going to give them trouble, and one of them's not Michigan. So,
No,
you know,
no.
all right,
And I
quick.
gotta say, I think Alabama now has to be moved to the favorite to win the whole thing at this point. Alabama's got to be the favorite at this point because they're too talented. They've proven they can be, but they also can get shut down by a really good defense in the second half. Their offense is otherworldly. I give them
Yeah.
credit. Like I didn't think that Jalen Milrow was that, but Milrow is him. Milrow
Oh
looks
yeah.
like a pro quarterback now. I apologize, Milrow. Apparently, I shouldn't have said that because you went off on my team because I said it.
Enjoy the Carolina Panthers
Enjoy the Carolina Panthers, yeah. But Texas has
or the Patriots.
Oklahoma in 2 weeks, and then Georgia the week after that. So this is about to be some smash mouth football for them. And then they got Vandy the week after Georgia. We all like Vandy is not looking
Oh,
terrible. They don't look great, but they're not looking terrible.
they look better than usual, but I'm pretty sure that those Panthers from Georgia State stuck a big L on their schedule. So more power to the Panthers. I don't want to downplay it
Yeah.
because that was a great
Oh
win
no,
for them. Vandy
I'm
played
not.
well.
Vandy
They
played
lost.
well, and the fact is, Missouri, who's one of the teams that I always worry about now, almost beat them in second to overtime.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to stress out Missouri anymore in Georgia's schedule, which I don't think we play them. We'd have
Yeah.
to play them in the playoff
Yeah.
or the SEC championship game. So
Yeah, I don't
anyway,
think you're
on
gonna do it.
to
Yeah. All right. So read you a stat real quick, and you tell me if that is Carson Beck or Peyton Thorne that I'm talking about. All right.
Oh God,
83 for 132, 1,119 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
that would be Carson.
That's Carson Beck. You want to hear Peyton Thorne?
Go for it.
61 for 102, 1,038 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6 picks.
That's yeah.
On
But say
paper, they're the same guy. On paper.
on paper they are, but
On
there's
grass
a
and
difference
turf,
in pro. No, they're too, paper's stats always show you one thing. You can't focus on the stats. Now, the favorite stat I
right.
like to look at is, negative plays in the backfield on the defense. You can like it's the same thing right now. Jalen Hurts and Mahomes have the exact same stats. Oh, but Mahomes is electric where Jalen is not. Jalen is a static.
Mhm.
Mahomes, he might throw more picks. Same with Carson had 3 picks because of this last game. Two of them not on. Two of them I will not. One of them, excuse me, is not on him. That's on the player. The other two, yeah, he shouldn't have played this, but also bad play calling. Um, yeah, that's weird, but also Peyton folds under pressure, even one of the worst I've seen.
Just
I,
weird they have
I,
almost the same stats. But
I
yeah,
know
yeah,
I've
I
got a
agree.
friend who's an Auburn
They've
fan,
had two
and they
different
are
schedules.
sick of him. They are sick of him down there, down on the plains.
I mean, they're only 2-3. They're not that bad off. But either way, all right. Let's get to the keys of the game. Key number one for the Bulldogs getting a victory this week.
Start fast and keep your foot on the pedal. Do not come off of it. I don't care if you drop 100 on them. Keep your foot down.
That would be interesting if you do that. By the way, that would be very interesting and pretty entertaining. Key number two, it's that background picture for you there. We need that stadium. Now, granted, you won't have the lights not till late on because you got a 3:30 start. We need where is it? There. We need that that place on fire, lighting up. We need Sanford Stadium just exploding with so much like fan
hmm
cheering and everything that it's like having a 12th guy on the
No,
field. It needs
it
to be
doesn't.
electric.
Georgia sells out games now. The Georgia fans will be angry at that loss, but this team will, they
Mm-hmm.
fans will show up because they want to see what this team's made of. They want to
Yep.
see if Georgia can go out, and as I've been saying over and over, if they can put their nuts on the table and go out and win a big game. They almost did it last week. They came
Yep.
back. I mean, came back and just one bad play. Still, that bad play feels bad, but I don't feel great about the season going forward, but I feel okay if depending on this game. So I agree with your key to the game. The crowd has got to be in this, but they will be. Dogs travel.
Uh,
Dogs are great at home. They'll be great.
about 2 minutes left. I think you got the same timer I do. So
Yep.
last key.
Last key. Um, all right? I'll give you a half on it, half on this last one because it goes for both sides of the ball. Your defense needs to make sure that they come out with the right game plan, but the same thing goes for the offense. If Bobo is so good at scripting, he needs to script this thing and do it and stick to the plan no matter what the score is. I don't think they're going to get down in this one like that, but nonetheless, both sides of the ball have to scheme things properly and trust in their players to make the plays and don't blame the players for for your failure as a coach to give them the instructions and to coach them where they're supposed to be. If Georgia can keep themselves from becoming that, they'll be wonderful. If not, they'll be in a little bit of trouble.
I think so. I think play it a little angry, not too out of control. They're going to keep the emotions in check, but play it a little angry because they could
Kirby's
have won
word,
that. They know it.
controlled chaos.
Yeah,
Yeah, controlled chaos, as Kirby always says. And the Bulldogs showed out in the second half, controlled chaos on defense. Offense, they started showing some signs of life. They just got to keep on living, baby. Livin.
living La Vida Loca,
Exactly.
which means living the crazy life for people who don't understand that one. But it's fun thing. You guys should watch Ricky Martin videos. But we've reached the end of the show. Uh, Appreciate everybody who tuned in to this week's Hunker Down. It has been the leading show all year. There's had a few times that some things have caught up to it during the week, but it has been our biggest show. We definitely appreciate all you guys. And I'm Jeremy the Impact York. He is Jake Jim Tan Laundry Skinner. and I will not let him live that down. But we will see you guys next week. Deuces,
See y'all.
gooses, go dogs.
Go dogs.